What is up, fight fans? I am Jason Burgos for Ringside Intel and Sports Not here for some UFC 318 predictions. Not going to go through the entire card, just going to focus on the main card bout. So let's jump right into it. First, we're going to start with the fight card opener: Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. It's wild. Michael Johnson has 30 fights in the UFC, and what's crazy is that while he's lost half of them, at 39, he still has stayed pretty relevant. He's won 3 of his last 4. A solid win, don't wins, but it's always a tough matchup for any guy at that age with so much awareness on his body. Daniel Zellhuber is a good fighter. I don't know if he's going to be a future title challenger, but he's still a lot of upside. Still very young. Still has a potential, but he's got youth and he's got speed. And against someone like Michael Johnson at this point in his career, that's always dangerous. But also, Zellhuber is just a good fighter. He can finish fights on the feet, on the ground, good grappling, and I expect him to use that grappling, use his youth, use his athleticism, maybe more of a strength advantage, get the fight to the ground, ground him out. I'm expecting Zellhuber to get a submission win in round 1. Moving on from there, it's got Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull, the Bellator icon, the best fighter in Bellator history, bar none. It's just a shame. I really wish Patricio Pitbull would have been in the UFC like 6 years ago. If he was in the UFC 6 years ago, man, I think he really could have made a legit run. Probably got a title shot at featherweight. I don't know if he become champion, but man, was that good, and it's a shame. And that's the thing. While he's got a better matchup in at UFC 318 than he had in his debut, Dan Ige just a guy who makes fights ugly. While he's got a good amount of loss in the UFC as well as wins, you got to really work hard and grind it out to get him. Unless you're just like an elite fighter that can run through him, but that just doesn't happen. He's always a tough out, and I just feel like that's going to be it. And with Patricio Pitbull being near 40, that's always hard to do. And still fight at a high level against elite competition. At the lower weight classes, you don't have the same kind of ability to do that like you can at heavyweight. I just feel like, unfortunately, we're going to have another Pitbull loss. I'm going to go with Ige by split decision. It's damn shame. And it's going to frame like, oh, Patricio wasn't a good enough fighter at UFC. But if he would have came younger, he would have been nasty. Moving on from there, Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. Absolutely a fight that has fight of the night potential. This one should be fun, especially with Daniel Rodriguez. He's not a guy who's going to take the fight to the ground, or maybe he surprises. Maybe he does, because that's such a clear, obvious weakness for Kevin Holland, despite his work on it. And despite having pretty good jiu-jitsu, he's not, just if you have good wrestling, you can hold him down, you can beat him. But I just don't think it's going to happen. And that's why it was crazy is that Kevin Holland's going to have his 27th fight in the UFC at UFC 318. That means he has had an average of 3.88 fights per year since he debuted the country. And the company. He's got a ton of fight miles, but I feel like he's a younger fighter, literally and just body-wise, because Daniel Rodriguez is 38, and you've seen the signs. Even though he's won some recent fights and a good win against Ponzinibbio in his last fight, you can see the signs of age. He's slowed down, and against a guy like Holland, despite the fight miles, he's still in prime years. He's just a faster, more athletic fighter. I think that's going to show, especially on the feet. If he stays on the feet, I'm picking Kevin Holland by TKO round 2. Moving on to the co-main event, Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. Man, it seems like a long time ago when Paulo Costa was just like the scariest dude in middleweight. Like, he was just an absolute killer, Vitor Belfort 2.0, and that guy's gone. Like, this guy has one win in this decade. One because of injuries, but he's lost. Now, he's lost to elite guys. Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, like high-level competition. He's not going to get that at UFC 318 against Roman Kopylov. But Kopylov's a good fighter, nasty striker, very dangerous, a guy that needs to be taken seriously. And if Paulo Costa isn't serious about this fight, he's going to lose this fight. That's the big question. At 34, still in some prime years, still a name. Is he serious about trying to make one last run? I feel he will be. Not super confident, but I think he will be. I think Costa gets a unanimous decision, but that should be a good fight, interesting fight. Two unique clash of styles for strikers. And then moving on to the main event, the fight everybody's looking forward to. The BMF title is on the line. Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway 3. Fascinating fight. And there's so many fun elements to this. You got Poirier. It's his retirement fight, which you really don't have in the UFC going into it, knowing this is the last fight. So there's not any, let me be cautious of trying to get a title shot, all this kind of thing. He's just going to let it all hang out. Max Holloway just naturally does that. That's why he's the BMF champion. That's why he's such a beloved fighter. And what's also interesting about this whole thing is that this is the third fight, and Poirier's won both of them. This is not your usual trilogy where it's trying it's a tiebreaker. It's a rubber match. Poirier's won both, and pretty clearly, especially the second one. As fun as that fight was, he clearly won that fight. Now, the thing is with this one, and going into it, Max Holloway is the favorite. And I think part of that is, one, Max Holloway, when they fought way back in 2012 at featherweight, he's way different than he was then. And then when they fought in 2019, his first fight at lightweight, he's even admitted he didn't do the things you need to do to go up and weigh. And that proves that you just can't go up and weigh, oh, I just don't, I could eat better and all that stuff. You have to really use sports science and optimally move up and weight. And he's done that now. He's staying at lightweight after the loss to Poirier. He beat Justin Gaethje dominantly with a knockout to be the BMF champion. I think this will be a good fight. And especially, like I mentioned, Poirier's going to let it all hang out. I think it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if it was this finish. But I just feel like both of them have a lot of miles. So Max was a little closer to his prime. He's not having a cutaway, which is big, especially later in a career. I just think he's closer to his prime where he should win this. It would be great if Diamond goes off with a win to end his career. I just feel like Holloway this is kind of like when Rampage Jackson lost twice to Vanderlei Silva and got the revenge fight in UFC. I just feel like unfortunately for Poirier fans, he's going to send him home with a loss, but it should be a great fight. Looking forward to it. Those are my predictions for UFC 318.